Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's always great to have you here. In today's video, we're going to try something a little different. I'll be showing you how to make another type of natural fertilizer using simple ingredients you probably already have at home. This mix is going to give your orchids the nutrients they need to stay strong, healthy, and ready to grow. Let's jump right in. What I have here is a fairly healthy orchid plant. The flowers have already finished blooming, leaving behind just the bare flower spike or branch sticking out from the center. This is a very common stage in an orchid's life cycle. Once the blooms are gone, many people assume the plant is done, but in reality, this is when the orchid starts saving energy to prepare for its next growth phase. Now, before we get started, the first thing we need to do is give our orchid a good drink of water. Hydrating the plant beforehand softens up the roots and makes them more receptive to any nutrients we'll be adding later. We'll also water another orchid that will act as our guest for today's demonstration. This way, both plants are evenly prepared and we can clearly see how the fertilizer benefits each one. Now we're going to prepare the fertilizer. Start with 1 clove of fresh ginger. It's packed with natural compounds that help fight bacteria and stimulate growth. First, slice the ginger into small pieces to make it easier to work with. Once it's cut, place the pieces into a mortar and use a pestle to grind them down. As you crush the ginger, you'll notice the juices being released. This is exactly what we want, since those juices carry the nutrients and natural properties that will benefit our orchid. Take your time grinding until you have a rough paste, making sure the pieces are well broken down. Now take all of the crushed ginger and transfer it into a clean jar. Once it's inside, pour in about 400 milliliters of clean water. Room temperature works best. Give a mixture a good stir to help the ginger release more of its natural compounds into the water. Close the lid tightly to keep the mixture clean and free from dust or insects. Let it sit for about 1 hour. After 1 hour has passed, it's time to prepare the solution. Open the lid of the jar and give it a quick stir to make sure everything inside is well mixed. Then, slowly pour the entire contents through a strainer placed over a clean container. This will help separate the liquid from the solid ginger pieces, catching any fibrous parts or chunks that didn't break down during the steeping process. Now we're going to enrich our solution with a special ingredient, calcium milk. This ingredient is often overlooked, but it plays a very important role in plant care. Calcium helps orchids build stronger cell walls, which makes the leaves firmer and less likely to wilt under stress. It also supports root development by strengthening root tips, allowing them to absorb more nutrients and water. Start by pouring in 1 tablespoon of calcium milk into the ginger solution. Then follow it with 500 milliliters of clean water. Give it a good stir until the milk fully dissolves and blends evenly. What we'll end up with is a well-rounded tonic. Next, Grab yourself a small container and scoop out just a portion of the solution. We don't need to use the whole jar at once. This way, we can avoid contaminating the main batch and make it easier to work with. Take a clean tissue or a soft piece of cloth, dip it into the container, and let it soak fully so it absorbs as much of the solution as possible. Once it's damp, but not dripping, begin gently brushing it across the orchid's leaves. Move slowly, covering both the top and underside of each leaf. This not only helps the plant absorb the nutrients directly, but also cleans away any dust or debris that might block sunlight and reduce photosynthesis. After finishing with this orchid, repeat the same process for our guest orchid that we watered earlier. Giving both plants this treatment ensures they benefit equally from the ginger's natural protective qualities and the calcium's strengthening effect. Think of it as giving your orchids a nutrient-rich spa treatment that keeps their leaves fresh, strong, and resilient. You can also pour some of the solution into a clean spray bottle. This makes it much easier to apply evenly across the plants without asking too much. With a fine mist setting, lightly spray over the entire orchid, making sure to cover the leaves, stems, and even the aerial roots. Misting like this not only helps the plant absorb nutrients directly through its surface, but also creates a refreshing layer of moisture, which orchids naturally love. Repeat the same misting process with the guest orchid as well. By doing this, both orchids get an extra boost of hydration and nutrition while also creating a more humid environment around them, something orchids thrive in. It's a simple step, but over time it makes a big difference in keeping your plants vibrant and resilient. Finally, we can pour the solution directly into the pot. To do this neatly, use a ladle or a large spoon to scoop out the liquid, then carefully pour it around the base of the orchid. This ensures the solution reaches deep into the potting medium, allowing the roots to fully absorb all those nutrients we've prepared. Take your time with this step. Don't rush or flood the pot all at once. Pour gradually so the medium has a chance to soak up the liquid evenly, preventing excess from draining out too quickly. By feeding the orchid directly through its roots like this, we're giving it long-lasting nutrition that will continue to support growth over the coming days. Repeat this same process with the guest orchid as well, making sure both plants receive a healthy share of the fertilizer. Once done, the roots will slowly draw in the nutrients, setting the stage for stronger leaves and healthier future blooms. After all of that is done, take a clean handkerchief or a soft piece of cloth and gently wipe around the leaves. This step might seem simple, but it's very important. By cleaning off any remaining solution or dust, we help the leaves breathe better and absorb light more efficiently. Make sure to wipe gently. Don't press too hard, as orchid leaf can be sensitive and bruise easily. Move in slow strokes, especially along the edges and underside of the leaves, where moisture or debris tends to collect. This not only keeps the plant looking fresh and healthy, but also reduces the chance of fungal spots developing. You can also remove the outer pot or saucer that's been collecting water from the drainage holes. Leaving excess water sitting there for too long can cause the roots to stay damp, which increases the risk of rot and fungal infections. By removing the outer pot, you make sure any extra water can drain away completely, keeping the root zone well aerated and healthy. This small step might not seem like much, but it makes a big difference in keeping orchids strong, since they don't like sitting in waterlogged conditions. Always remember, orchids thrive best when their roots can breathe. Now, grab a fresh clove of garlic. Carefully peel away the skin, then cut it into small, even pieces. Garlic is a powerful natural antifungal and antibacterial agent, which makes it excellent for protecting orchids against harmful pathogens. Once you've finished chopping the garlic, set it aside. Next, we're going to add something a little unique: Malabar spinach. Unlike the common spinach you may be familiar with, Malabar spinach has thick, fleshy leaves that are packed with beneficial nutrients and natural compounds. For this mix, we only need the leaves, so pick a handful of fresh, healthy leaves and set them aside. Then place all the chopped garlic and fresh Malabar spinach leaves into a blender. Add in about 500 milliliters of clean water to help break everything down. Secure the lid tightly. Then start the blender on a medium speed. Let it run until the mixture becomes smooth and well combined, with no large chunks of garlic or spinach left. What we're aiming for here is a rich, nutrient-packed liquid that contains both the protective properties of garlic and the natural vitamins from the spinach leaves, making it easy for the orchid roots and leaves to absorb later. Next, we're going to filter the mixture. Place a fine strainer over a clean container and slowly pour the blended garlic and Malabar spinach solution through it. This step is important because it separates the liquid nutrients from the fibrous parts that didn't fully break down in the blender. Now, prepare a clean small container and gently place the orchid's roots inside. Slowly pour the garlic and Malabar spinach solution over the roots until they are fully submerged. Make sure every root is covered, as this allows the plant to absorb the maximum amount of nutrients. Garlic helps fight off bacteria and fungal infections, while the spinach provides a natural boost of minerals that strengthen the plant's overall structure. Once the roots are completely soaked, leave the orchid in this solution for about 30 minutes. After 30 minutes, carefully lift the orchid out of the solution and let the excess liquid drip away. Next, grab a clean tissue or soft cloth, dip it lightly into the same garlic, spinach solution, and gently tap along the roots. This step helps coat the roots evenly with a thin layer of nutrients, ensuring that every part receives protection and nourishment. Avoid rubbing too harshly, as orchid roots are delicate and can bruise easily. Just a light tap or press is enough to let the solution cling to the surface. Now, pay close attention to this step, because it's a delicate one. Take a clean tissue and gently wrap it around the stem of the orchid, making sure it covers evenly without squeezing too tightly. This tissue acts as a soft protective layer, keeping the stem safe from direct contact. Next, we're going to use candle glue, melted wax, to carefully seal the tissue in place. Drip just a small amount onto the tissue, enough to make it stick without soaking through to the plant. The wax creates a secure hold while also preventing moisture loss and blocking harmful bacteria from entering through exposed areas of the stem. Next, we're going to prepare a support base for the orchid roots. You can use something simple like the lid of a smoothie cup or any rounded, head-shaped object that fits neatly inside the container. Cut it to size so it sits comfortably at the bottom without wobbling. Then, take a few clean tissues and carefully adjust them around the lid, making small cuts if needed, until they form a soft but stable cushion. This acts as an artificial base for the orchid, giving the roots something to latch onto and preventing them from resting directly on the hard surface of the container. Having this extra layer of support helps the roots settle more naturally, reduces stress, and encourages them to spread out as they begin absorbing nutrients. Now we're going to add just a small amount of clean water into the container, no more than 10 to 20 milliliters. You don't want the roots to be sitting directly in water. Instead, the goal here is simply to let the tissues soak up the moisture. From there, the orchid can draw gentle humidity and stay hydrated without the risk of rot. Once that's done, place a pot with drainage holes directly on top of the container, carefully setting the orchid inside. This setup allows excess moisture to escape while still creating a slightly humid environment around the plant. With this balance of moisture and airflow, the orchid gets the best chance to adapt and settle. Now, all that's left is to leave it in a bright, open area for a couple of weeks and let the process work naturally. You don't have to waste the leftover solution. It can be just as beneficial for the other orchids around your house. Start by dipping a clean tissue into the mixture. And gently wiping down the leaves of each orchid to remove dust and give them a nutrient boost. After that, transfer some of the solution into a spray bottle and mist it lightly across the leaves and aerial roots. This not only refreshes the plants, but also allows them to absorb nutrients through their foliage. Finally, pour the remaining solution directly into the pots, letting it soak into the growing medium so the roots can take in everything they need. This way, every orchid in your collection gets a share in the benefits of the homemade fertilizer, not just the one we're restoring today. After 28 days, you can start to see the first promising signs of recovery. The roots, which previously looked dry and weak, are now showing fresh green tips forming at their ends. This is a clear indication of new growth and nutrient absorption. The tissue-wrapped stem has remained firm and protected, and you may even notice tiny bumps or nodes beginning to swell along it, hinting at the possibility of new leaves or shoots forming in the near future. The overall plant looks healthier and more stable compared to when we first started. Instead of shriveling or darkening, the remaining roots are plump and hydrated, showing that they've been steadily drawing moisture from the setup we created. The leaves on our guest orchids that receive the same treatment are also brighter and more vibrant, with a fresh sheen that tells us the homemade fertilizer is doing its job. Now that our orchid has shown good signs of recovery, it's time to prepare its new home. Start with a clean pot that has clear drainage holes. This is very important to prevent water from collecting at the bottom and causing rot. First, fill the base of the pot with a layer of pine bark. This will act as the foundation, giving the roots excellent airflow and drainage. Next, add a thin layer of moss on top of the bark. The moss helps retain just the right amount of moisture without suffocating the roots, creating a balance between hydration and breathability. Once the layers are in place, carefully position the orchid in the center of the pot. Gently adjust it so the roots are resting comfortably on the bark and moss, spreading them out as naturally as possible instead of bunching them together. Now we're going to make a fresh batch of that spinach and garlic solution. Once it's ready, carefully pour it around the base of the pot so the roots can soak up the nutrients directly. After that, transfer some of the solution into a spray bottle and mist it gently over the leaves, moss, and bark. This ensures that the plant gets both root and foliar feeding, which greatly speeds up recovery. Keep repeating this routine every few days, and make sure to place the orchid in an open, well-ventilated area with bright but indirect light. The fresh air will prevent fungal problems, while the consistent nutrient boost encourages strong root development and prepares the plant to push out new growth. And there you have it. With just a few simple homemade ingredients and a little bit of patience, we've managed to turn this orchid's journey around and set on the path to new life. I hope you found this video helpful and maybe even inspiring for your own orchid care. If you enjoyed the process, don't forget to leave a like and share your thoughts or tips in the comments. I always love hearing about your experiences. And if you're new here, consider subscribing so you don't miss future plant care videos and experiments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.